Alright everybody, welcome back to the moth-hawk project, and today we're going to be working on the part over here, right here, and once we're done there we're going to be adding a new part of the leaves done. So that's what we're going to be doing, and let's get started, shall we? So the main idea here is that today we're going to fix a little bit that we have been leaving behind because, well, you know, it has been already an hour in then, and then, you know, it's a bit, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to do things properly after that. So the first thing first I'm gonna do is go over there, nope, and go over this way, and right over there. So, we want to have a natural green, so probably this one right here, yeah, that would be fine. And what we're going to do is add the green towards our tablet, and we want this to be in 75. And we can add now the green towards it. As you can see, it works, but it's not good enough. So we should definitely add some lighter green into it. Like so. And then we can add even more lighter green. So today I actually had no time to work on the other drawing or do the daily walk because of, well, you know, I had my nephew visiting, and, you know, I needed to make sure that my nephew was actually not misbehaving, so I had to double check every single thing that he had to do, so that explains a lot. But yeah, it's getting a little bit cold lately here, and that means that, you know, the I accidentally let the window opened. So I had a lot of cold coming through my throat, which it was not a very nice experience, to say the least. Jeez Louise, it's one of the worst case scenarios ever. Alright. Now we can add the bit of blurring to it. Alright. Now that looks already nice. Do we want even more lighter green? Yes, we do. Right over there. I actually want more lighter green. There you go. There you go. Alright, and now we actually need to get this bit correctly done, so we should definitely add not on it, but this is the explanation. We should definitely move that down, or at least, you know, out of the thing. There you go. And then we want to have a full mask filter. Blur 55, yes. And now we're gonna erase the things that we don't need. And now I can exactly see what needs to be fixed or what not needs to be fixed, so that's good. And now we add the little bit of the blur tool again to it, or merge tool. Alright. Well, the first thing first I already noticed is that the how do you say it? The part where I need to be doing things are a little bit out of work. Right here, there is some lines that need to be covered out. don't want to have too much blurring on. That's true, but we also don't want... we should definitely add some stuff here and there. Especially right over there, we need to actually lower the... how do you say that? Lower the amount of... yeah, we need to lower the color down. Is this enough? No, it is not. It's still too much. So we're gonna do it again. We're just casually removing the things that we don't want. And why are we doing this? Why are we adding a bloom to it? Because, well, you know, we want to have depth. But of course, this is the most clearest part. So not supposed to be too bloomed in. Alright, so is this enough? Yes. Alright, now we actually need to do some editing here. One of the editing is right here, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna save it, just in case. What we're doing is not erasing the whole stuff, but casually applying the brush. There you go. Same right here. Same right over here. Same right over there. Yes, and over here. And that should fix it. Let me just double check. It almost fixed it. Now it's fixed, right? No. There you go. Now it's fixed. All right. We fixed the first leaf. Well done. Now that we are done with that, we're of course gonna add the next part in, which is gonna be this one right here. And why are we doing this? Well, because, well, if we do this one first, we can then add the rest in later on. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna give this and then put it into another layer. So we're gonna put a new down. And we're gonna put this into a group. And we're gonna add this group in there, and then we're gonna add a group into the group. There you go. All right. So we need two of them, one for the colors, one for the other one. I am not yet there. Hold on. Yes. Yes. Yes, I am. All right. Anyway. Let's continue. Sorry about that. A little disturbance. It happens sometimes, you know. 10, and then we need to do this. So the next time I came to the realization that I did a little bit too harsh on the part, and therefore, you know, things were there, and I should have definitely put this on my way once I had a chance, but I didn't. So my bad. Oh, fuck's sake. I said no and then still, jeez. Alright. Anyway. So what I need to do now, I came to the conclusion right here that I did it a little bit too harsh on the parts that need to have a little bit of a different kind of approach to it. So I went a little bit too dark on it. So this time of the approach, because, you know, we can still do this in mid drawing, we're gonna give the leaves the effect, but we want to get the effect a little bit not fully done properly. So how do you do this one? How do you say that? If we're drawing like this, we're not gonna put this in we're not gonna draw harsh lines. So what we're gonna do is drawing soft lines. So instead of drawing like this, we're gonna draw it like this. This way the drawing will be less problematic when we're doing the full thing. So that's what we're gonna do. But first we need to have a shape. And the shape is quite easily. It's a nice little shape. It's a shape that we are following right here. And we have the black lines to do so, which is good. I mean, of course it's not the best, don't get me wrong there, but it's a good enough shape to follow around with right now. So now the question is like, do we want this to be on the front or do we want this to be on the back part? We can choose whatever we want or whatever we like. I'm just gonna keep it on with the same thing as the other one. And then once we're figuring out like, yes, this needs to be in this one or that one, we can just add it in later on. So no need to worry about too much of a hassle, which is good, you know. We don't want too much of a burden to be placed in our places. So yeah, I will be so satisfied once this drawing is going to be fully completed, by the way. One, because, you know, it took a lot of time. Two, because I'm very happy at how it's all coming together in the first place. So, as you can see, the amount of stuff here is quite easily the most gentle thing to do. It's just, you know, draw and then draw again, then draw again and draw again. It's not a real problem. It's not a real problem that, you know, consists right now that needs to be solved quickly. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna shut down the other ones that I don't need, which are these ones right here. And why I do that is so that I have a precise shape for the drawing. So I know then when and how the strokes are going to be going. So I'm going to give this a little bit of a spiky feeling to it. I don't mind giving it a spiky feeling because I'm still using the rest of it anyway. So now we're needing to shape it up. So what is this cloud? Well, this cloud is going to be like, it's going to be like a ball part. So it's going to be like this. And you have that. So we can give this effect right here. We can give this effect a little bit on this side right there. And we can put it a little bit more right here again. I should definitely put the hard eraser on. So we can see like where to go from here on. So I want right here one, and I want right here one. So these are going to be our following guidelines for this drawing. One over here should be fine. One over there. One over there. And one over there. And one over here. It's gonna be later useful. Yes, we can still go for this kind of effect. And there you go. We now have the lines that we need for the variety in the drawing itself. And then once we're done, we will get everything up and running. Let's see. Once we're getting there, we are gonna do it just easily like that, and then that should be fine. So we're gonna add this part right here, which is the variety part. This time we're not gonna add too much of black to it, because otherwise things go really bad for it. So we don't want to overextend in our drawing. But what we're going to do here is we're going to add the lines that we have already established. So we have these lines right here that establish everything that we want with this drawing to make it not as bland as normal. And we're just going to follow these lines, and, you know, probably it's going to be taking us half an hour to complete this whole damn thing because, well, you know, that's how these things work. But the more I do this, the better and quicker I get at it. So therefore, you know, it won't be as much of a hassle. There you go. The more I do this, the better it gets. So, yeah. I didn't have enough time today. I had a lot of time, but I had not the time that I needed to do, you know, focus myself on doing things because other things came first. And it makes the things like, you know, you want to draw and then you have some people coming over, visiting, and you're like, well, I actually want to draw today. And then, you know, you can't. So the way I see it always is like, well, you're not supposed to get bored, and then, oh, that's bad. That's a really bad thing right there. That's not good. That is not good at all. I don't like that. That's horrible. And then if I do this right here, it should be fixed. Or doesn't it fix? Does it get fixed? No, it doesn't. Ugh. So I should definitely put these things a little bit more out of the. I need to soft line them as well then. Yeah, now I can do it. Because there is less of a. There's still interruption, but it is less visible. There you go. I believe this is the way to do it. But yeah, being interrupted, it's a thing that happens, you know. Everybody can have happening such things like, you know, you're going on your work and somebody comes in and says like, hey, you need to do this and this and this. And I'm like, well, congratulations, me. Somebody asking you something and you need to do that first before you can do that or another thing. So it's normal that such things can happen. The only downside is I am not very good at adapting towards such problems because I'm a very slow adapting person. When I want to learn something, yes, I can adapt myself really quickly, but it also needs to go naturally. So if I want to adapt on something like, for instance, right now, the whole damn thing I'm trying to draw, it takes time, it takes effort, you know, take it slowly, learn what you can learn, and then work from there on to fix the damn thing so that, you know, you can get a better picture, get a better work afterwards. And if you don't like it fully, then, well, you know, you can still salvage it, no matter what. If you don't like the turnout, how the background turns out to be, you can always, you know, still use the same. You can still use the thing itself, and that is a thing that I sometimes underestimate. You know, I underestimate salvaging things. It's strange, I know, it's very strange, but I'm very well aware that that's one of my weaknesses. My weaknesses are very easy to explain because, well, you know, I can adapt. Well, I can adapt, but it takes time. I'm a very slow adaptable person. But everything that I do I do with a passion and work that way around. It's a thing that can happen, you know, the amount of stuff that can cause such things to happen are pretty slim, of course, because, you know, the amount of stuff that can happen, like adapting to making things better, it's a thing that not likely is gonna happen if you're constantly sitting in your safe kind of approach or safe zone, if you say the least. But once you come out of it, it's like, oh well, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, I don't know how to do that, and then, you know, everything just gets bombarded with things that you didn't know. So to fix such problem, like, you know, me being very slow at learning things when it comes to learning how to react on certain types of events that are happening while drawing, it's important that you practice, because the more you practice, the more quicker you can solve your problem that you have right now. And I do have a problem, but tomorrow maybe I don't have a problem, or tonight even. It all depends on the situation that it is falling into. Like, for instance, the drawing right now, it's a very nice and gentle drawing. There's no action, there is no things I need to worry about now, because, well, we're still just doing leaves, and most of it has already been already been done. The most hard work has already been done. So therefore, you know, leaves and grass, it's one of those things that I can implement my knowledge really quickly on nowadays. Before, no, not so. I'm very bad at drawing grass. When I was a kid, it was it was the worst. You had this kind of grass, you had this kind of grass, and you had this kind of grass. And what I did, I only used one of them. I didn't use all three. So it caused a little bit of a problematical thing. And of course you don't want that problematical thing to be a thing, because you want to produce your artwork. You don't want to produce something that looks like it's made out of 2001 or something like that. No, that's still a compliment. Out of 9050. Yes, there you go. Not 9050, not 9050. I mean 9080s. Yes. When there was some things like the futurism. There you go. I believe that was from the 1980s. I don't know for sure, but it was one of those things that happened after the Second World War. It's a very simplistic art style that represents speed. Oh, well, that sounds very decent normally, you know. Speed, well, that's a thing that can happen. But what they did was, you know, representing speed. So you're just gonna go like, whoa, and then you're gonna draw really fast, and, you know, putting the beak on, and then you have speed. That is speed. You're just optimizing for speed, even in your artwork. So if you would build a car, you would optimize for speed. But that you also do it in the artwork is a little bit of a strange idea. Like, you know, all these people were misformed. They were like, you know, very fast faces with, you know, legs, and then, you know, arms that didn't make any sense, and then they were running around. So you get all that kind of shenanigans up and running. And yeah, it was strange back then. And I don't want that kind of experience, you know, when you have like cubism, futurism. It was all those things that it is art, don't get me wrong, but it's not the art that I would like to have. You know, back in the day when you had like these painters that just were painting faces and created such marvelous things that nobody else could make. That is like a thing that I would generally want to make. You know, things that are very hard to create, are very passionate. It's a thing that is my favorite kind of idea. You know, you want to create something that is passionate. You want to create something that feels like, you know, it is made from something. You want to know that these trees are made for trees, and the passion that lies within it sometimes get a little bit, you know, overdone because, well, you know, I am hyper focusing on detail sometimes, and it's a thing that I still need to learn not to do because, you know, if I hyper focus on detail, then things don't get done. And I do like to, you know, working on the detail. I do like to work on the detail sometimes, you know, 1 hour, 2 hours on the detail and then, you know, just quit. Because it's not healthy to constantly focus on something and then, you know, expecting something to change while there has been no change implemented into it. And the only way to improve is by doing things more often. Even though it might suck, even though it might look very bad, even though it might look like it's a distorted version of whatever you wanted to do in the first place, it doesn't freaking matter. And why does it not matter? Because you're learning. And when you learn, things go really good, really fast, really quickly. Now I need to be very careful I'm not using the there you go. So now I need to be very careful I do this properly. Because as you can see, that's the bird wing kind of effect. And we don't want that. We want actually to have the effect that is actually from the tree leaves. All right. So the idea here is that we're just gonna be putting all these leaves there and then, you know, filling up the parts that we need to do anyway. I could do so much more than just filling things up, but it is necessary that we're doing this because this is the natural way of, you know, filling up the whole damn thing. We're following the lines, cleaning up the mess that we have been leaving behind, and we know that, you know, our total part here that needs to be drawn will be eventually, you know, being colored in. And it might look a little bit weird right now because, well, we're using two colors that are totally out of sync, the black and the green. It looks horrible to watch because, well, you know, it's just a picture that needs to be done. Because at least it will give me some kind of idea of like where and how I need to position myself when the whole thing is gonna come. And just like that, I actually am and just like that, things got a little bit better. And this is how you do it then. And now we're gonna get to the part that needs to be done. Alright. And you can see that, we're almost halfway there. And sometimes these things take a long time to do. And that's not a problem, really. It's just, a little bit of a setback. Because if I ever would like to have something happening, it's like, making sure that I'm doing it correctly. So we need to fill up this part right here, and then we can go move onwards with this, and then we can finally fill up that part. Yep. Just how I like it. Lots of work. And this bit of leaves is, it's a little bit hard to do because we're having a big picture that needs to be filled up. And the more we do this, the better we get at it. Don't get me wrong there. But it is still a thing that needs to be realized, like, oh man, filling all of this up, whew, I don't want to be on the receiving side of this. Yes, because that's how textures are drawn. You can use a brush if you want to, or you can just do it manually. I don't have the brush, so I have to do it manually. But even if I had a brush, I would have done it manually. Because I really like sometimes the different textures. For instance, I do use, stamps or whatever they are called these days. I do like to use those textures nowadays. I do like them. I actually figured out like, oh well, if I use this stamp, then I can create this or that kind of effect. But I only use it in such a way that a normal person would say like, wait a minute, hold on a second, why did you use it like that? I used it actually to gain the effect of stone. I didn't use it in such a degree that, well, that effect looks awesome or amazing. No, not really. It just makes it look like stone. And that makes it amazing, of course. But it's not that the effect that you're using is like, yes, this will make it instantly perfect. No. I had to do a lot of erasing and then do the stamp again and then use a different size. And then I had like two kind of effects that I liked. One was more of the dusty kind of effect, so that, things look less modern, things look less clean. It gives this old feeling to it. And the other effect was actually more like a cracked effect. So you had your lovely drawing that you had, and then, you cracked it a little bit. You made it look like there are cracks into the sculpture itself, or holes, without any making of those kind of ideas of parts that are in there. It's quite a lot to think about, yes, and I do think that most of the things that I did on that drawing is like, me figuring out like, oh man, I want this, I want that, and then, add it all up. But that doesn't matter. What matters is now that I'm almost finished with that drawing, but today I actually wanted to finish that part of the drawing, and I couldn't. Obvious reasons, of course. But the whole thing was that I am quite invested in that drawing, and I want that also to be finished. So we have two drawings that need to be finished anyway. This one and the other one, because the other one is actually need to be done in February. Even though, in February, even though there might be nothing going on in February, if there is going to be another lockdown, I'm going to be like, ah, damn it, again with that thing. Please stop it. But of course, I can still have my hopes up. And the idea is that this event that's going to be happening, that I just wear the sweater that needs to be that has all these funny things into it, and I hope I will be able to get it done. Of course, you know, it's hard to get everything that you want and loved into a drawing. Yes, true. But sometimes it's not that hard at all. You just need to find the right moment to strike. All right, we're almost there. And what I'm doing here is actually adding some different textures towards the tree. And let's hope it works. Because what we're doing here is actually disobeying the rule a bit. To get to point A from point A to point B. Which is a thing that can happen. There you go. There you go. And we can now see that, yes, this actually worked well. Alright, nice. Even though it looks like, things have been cut through each other, but don't worry about it. Once the real color comes in, things will go a little bit better on the drawing side of things. I'm going a little bit too nuts on being a little bit more wild on the top, just creating this loose kind of effect to it, because I realized it was a little bit too stagnated. Of course, you don't want to have it too loose, but you also don't want to have it too wild. You still want to see the texture of the leaves, or what it's supposed to represent at least. There you go. I cannot wait for me to do some go downstairs and eat some food, because I'm actually quite hungry. Somehow my belly is not satisfied with the food I had today. Apparently I'm still hungry, so I should get some food in my belly soon. But I'll do that after the stream, after all. Nothing to worry about too much. And now we can just no, go away. Now we have done this, I can now get the color up and running by just blip, 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 blip. There you go. Found the color that I want, get the color I want, and boom. I can say, well, I want this a little bit more greener. There you go, more greener. And now I can see, like, well, how does this look? Well, it looks actually quite pretty good. Looks pretty good, even though it's not too obnoxious like what I did with this one. So that's good. That's an amazing kind of achievement. We did it right. Just by implementing the things that we lost. And now we just casually need to do the thing that we need to do. which is, of course, just doing the stuff that we did before, removing the bits that don't matter. Of course, these tiny bits are a little bit difficult sometimes, but that's why we're zoomed out. And that's why we have the eraser on 6 instead of 20 or 50. All right. It's quite interesting how much stuff gets done here. All right. Boo-doo-doo-doo. I'm just gonna look up the time, how much we have left, even though, you know... Oh my god, 40 minutes already in. Jeez Louise. That's a lot of minutes. That's a lot of minutes. Well, at least I'm actually getting further ahead than the one beforehand, so we did improve. Yeah, we did improve a bit. 2 minutes, maybe. Even though, you know, it's still not enough to do the full part of this thing. Because, well, you know, I still need to have a full concentration, and we are having still some things to go. Yeah, but that happens when you're trying to do something with a big thing, like this one. This one is a bit too big to do in one session. Oh no, what are the odds? Well, the whole thing is that this probably will be done in 2 minutes afterwards, the next day, so It's fine, it's fine. And then we can do the next one, and then the other one, and then another one. And the more we do this, or well, the more we add to it, the more leaves we add to this, the better it becomes. Because, you know, 1 leaf, 2 leaves, 3 leaves, 4 leaves, and then, you know, you get the point. It turns into a big bush, and the bigger bush, the better. Well, at least that's how I imagine it to be. Probably, yes. Probably. Alright. You can see how much stuff I actually did already with this thing. It's quite ridiculous. Even though, you know, things might not look quite done easy, but yeah, I'm trying to do my very best here. Erasing every single nook and cranny. Yeah, that's how it normally goes, but it is important later on. Anyway. We're just erasing this part right here, and then go down again. There you go. And now that is how we solve the problem. We're almost there. Alright. So, as you can see, we don't have enough time to do the coloring in because, well, you know, that I am not gonna try to do that right now because I'm not feeling like it, and I already did a lot. This is actually quite intense. and my hand is a bit twitchy, so... Well, not twitchy, more like, you know, exhaust from drawing that detailed. Alright, I hope I'll see you all next time, and I wish you all a lovely day, and bye!